Is a group home for children always horrible? I am a single father raising my severely autistic child for the past 8 years by myself. I have him since he was 2. I am tired, really tired, and I want to move on.
I can answer this. I had 3 children, oldest with cerebral palsy, middle child normal, youngest child with rare genetic syndrome that physically handicapped him later in life. I divorced their dad due to alcoholism. I worked full-time and have always worked. I paid a babysitter for the oldest out of my own pocket to come in and sit with her after school because daycares wouldn't service her. When I got home from work, I took over. My youngest was mentally normal and didn't need as much when he was young. I qualified for zero assistance. I asked and applied. My youngest had to go out of state for treatment, and it became impossible for anyone to care for my oldest child. My ex, her dad, did nothing to help. No visitation with her. He would take the youngest too. My family couldn't help because they couldn't lift her. Not to mention, my parents were older. She grew to a normal-sized smaller adult and weighed 106. I weighed 120. I was lifting her because she was non-ambulatory, non-verbal, paralyzed on the right side. She was unable to feed herself and wore diapers. After taking care of her for 16 years and doing it essentially alone, I had to have help. I plainly couldn't do it any longer, plus try to do what my other 2 needed. I did finally get some assistance for at home through a state grant. Agency would send someone in to help. However, I ended up having items stolen. They would consistently call in sick and I wouldn't be able to work. So that solution was not good. However, the help was only there while I worked. When I came home, it was my responsibility. Through applying for assistance and working with the state Medicaid department as an employee, I had been told over and over that she would qualify for everything as soon as she was out of my house. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. But my youngest was going to have surgery out of state, and I couldn't care for her or take her with me. Zero help. So I made the hardest decision I ever had to make, and that was to place her in a group home. I placed her when she was 16 years old. She went to a fabulous group home. She had opportunities to live as a normal teen and do normal things. It was actually hard to catch her at home because when school started up, Friday nights were football games. They took her to movies, concerts, etc. She went to the beach with the group home. I still visited her. When she became sick with ovarian cancer 20 years later, the staff took turns and came to sit with her at the hospital even though I was there. She died 3 years later from cancer at age 35. But she had been institutionalized since age 16. It was the best thing I could have ever done. She loved coming home and I could go get her and bring her home for holidays. She didn't spend the night because I had dropped her trying to transfer her from the chair to the bed to change a diaper. But I was also able to visit as much as I wanted, and we did. No one should ever shame a parent if they have never walked in their shoes. It's not a walk in the park, and it's not giving up your child or disposing of them. There's only so much one person can do. The burnout is very, very real when doing it alone. Thanks to everyone for the kind responses and understanding what this post is for. It's giving an answer to try to help another parent. For anyone that chooses to slam my response and make it into something it isn't, your post will be reported and you will be blocked. This response was given to help a parent. If you haven't walked in our shoes, keep your negativity and ugly comments to yourself.